everyone, and welcome back to Anxiety Go Go. I'm doing this video today for a special friend of mine, and I'd really like to talk about loss and acceptance of loss and trauma. I've covered these two topics in other videos as well, but this time I'm going to focus mostly on the loss side of things. And how we can manage the feeling and the overwhelming emotions that overcome us when we have such a thing happen to us, depending on what it is. So first of all, I think the key to remember when we are dealing with something like loss, it can be lots of different reasons. It can be a minor issue, and it can be something quite serious and strong for you. But we can all respond to that in a different way. So if what might seem only trivial or smaller to somebody else may be the worst thing that somebody else has ever been through. So we can't judge on a scale of how a person should respond to any kind of trauma or loss or anything that's affecting them emotionally, because we all respond differently. And I think it's due to our life's experiences, things that we've already experienced in the past, or whether we have or haven't experienced things like that before is how we're going to respond to it for the first time. For those that have suffered greatly over their life, up until even the new loss that they're currently dealing with, I think people tend to assume that they are going to be okay, or that they're stronger, and that they'll know what to do and how to cope with this. Unfortunately, that's not the case. It would be wonderful if we were all built in with experimental buttons that we can say, we'll turn that one on now because that will deal with that one like it did last time. And it doesn't work like that. So, and I think as we're getting to get through these videos and learn about the different thought processes that we have, we understand that as an individual, we're learning more that this is the case. We are all different, and we are going to respond differently. And at different times we might respond differently too. So what might have been a similar case before that has arisen again will most likely affect you differently. Some parts will be the same. Familiar feelings, familiar anxieties might arise, but it will be a different situation, and we don't always have the tools to deal with the new situation that's arisen. So take a step back. I'd like to use one of the tools I've used several times with a friend of mine recently who thought it was quite effective for her. And this one is, I suppose you can think of it as a sensory thing as well. And I would like you to try it, even when you have really heightened anxiety levels. But in a time of loss, we kind of feel very vulnerable, and we feel a lot weaker than we would normally. So they're just two sort of descriptions that I can think of. There might be other ones that you would come up with, and it's important for you as an individual to identify those feelings that you're having as in your own person. Because when you're aware of what's happening to you and how it is that you're feeling, then you're able to address those emotions and feelings and regulate them a lot better. So for this task, I'd like you to try for me. You don't have to do it now. I mean, you may find, just if you're not in any heightened situation, that it might give you some kind of sensation. But when you are feeling quite distressed, or you have a loss or a trauma, or you're in quite a heightened anxiety period, I'd like you to sit down, if possible, where possible. Put both your feet flat on the ground. Have your hands in your lap with your palms open and upright. While this is happening, I just want you to think about the seat that you're sitting on, or whatever it is that you're sitting on, your lounge or somewhere. Could even be a park bench if you feel that you are outside and you could just sit. And I want you to just think about your hands resting on your knees and your feet that are grounded on the ground. If you can uncross your legs and have them just sitting flat on the ground. And I'd like you to think about your posture as well. So this is a little bit of a mindfulness, I don't know, trick, I suppose you could say. It works quite well for in a sensory effect. So what we're going to do when we're feeling like that and we're feeling that overwhelmingness of vulnerability, so placing your hands and being aware of where your hands are positioned, feeling them, the backs of your hands on your knees, and focusing on just that alone for now. Then once you feel like you've relaxed a little bit, I'd like you to put your hands together, and I want you to put your fingers in between each of the other one. You can cross your thumbs on top, and I'd like you to look down at your hands and see that you have two hands joining each other. Look at those hands and realize that you're being held. It is a strange sensation and it sounds quite, a little bit out there, but what we need at those usual times is a feeling of security because we've lost something. Something has been taken out of our control. And quite often this makes us feel like we're just don't know where to go, what to do. We feel alone. And I think in these situations, we need that feeling of support and security. Sometimes it's recommended that you give yourself a hug. Some people prefer to hold something. You might use your sensory, the feeling of having to touch something, a soft cushion or your favorite blanket, things like that. All those little things that help comfort you in these sort of times. But this one is a mindfulness task that I'd like you to spend time focusing on your hands, holding each other, your fingers intertwined with each other, the strength that you can feel between the palms of your two hands that are joined. You can give yourself a little bit more of a squeeze. You may want to press the palms closer together so that you feel both of your hands touching one another. That sensation of connection. So we're focusing now on trying to calm our bodies down, trying to give that feeling of a presence of something so that we don't feel overwhelmed of loneliness or isolated in this situation that we're in, that feeling of loss. So this way we're using our own tools to regain a sense of belonging again, a sense of being caressed or held. And as simple as it is, holding your own hands, you will feel the energy pass between both your palms, which is the warmth and the vibration of just our normal being. So you can focus on that as long as you need. If you feel that you're drifting away, you can always open your hands again, refocus where you are, where you're sitting, what you're thinking about at the moment. Don't push it away, just keep it where it is. And bring your hands back together again. Gently caress them to start with, and then focus on your fingers and your hands touching. This in turn will help lower your anxiety levels. It will help bring you back to the present, and it will also help you give a rest to your mind for yourself because you're focusing now on something else. So I think in times of these stressful times, when we lose something that is dear to us, we might have a breakup, we may have had a loss in the family, we may have had a personal loss, we may have had some kind of trauma recently that has caused us to feel alone, overwhelmed, or any of those descriptive emotions. And I think it's important to draw now on yourself and love yourself. Turn to yourself now and give yourself some self-care, because it's important to regain the strength in your inner self to flourish again and get on with the next day. Take each day as it comes. As big a cliche as that is, it is a brilliant one, because you have to just fight for the day that you've got. Keep yourself present in where you are at the moment and tackle each emotion and each moment of the day as it comes. Don't push it away, because your body's just responding to what's happened. So all the best for anyone that has suffered something greatly just recently, especially in these times with this COVID. I know that it's been quite a traumatic experience for many people. And for my dear friend who's suffered a big loss just recently too, I wish you all the best, and I know that the strength will come back again soon. So be patient with yourself and don't be hard on yourself. Over and out, everyone. Till next time. Thanks.